Hello and welcome everybody to the SRT Practitioners Clearing. This is something that we do every other week, and we are so glad that you could come and join us. If you wish to subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would be more than happy for you to do that. So just hit that subscribe button. And if you are subscribed and you want to be alerted for new videos as they come up, just hit the bell icon and you will receive an email letting you know every time we upload new content. I am Bill G. I'm the current president of the board of directors for the Spiritual Response Association. And I'm very happy to introduce our guest this evening, which is Malabika Shaw. And she's a close personal friend of mine and also a SRT teacher who has been teaching SRT for quite some time and well beloved by the community. Okay, tonight she will be talking about spiritual abundance, opening up for spiritual abundance, which is in conjunction with a class she's going to be teaching in August, and looking so much forward to it. So without further ado, Malabika, take it away.
Thank you so much, Bill. This is such fun to be here and be talking to the community from all over the place, I can see. As Bill mentioned, that next month on 2 days for 4 hours, I will be teaching a course called the Spiritual Principles of Creating Wealth. And it's a very fun class. I've taught it a few times before. It's a very fun class because I think, we all recognize, we are all SRT practitioners. We all recognize that spirit is about abundance. When we are connected with spirit, there is such joy and abundance and, creativity. And yet in our everyday lives, we find somehow it gets constricted, restricted. And because of our human conditions and some of our very, very old mindset, not just for us, that has been handed down to us through our ancestors, into our DNA, and what have you. So we really have to do some conscious mind work in order to open up those areas which got restricted. It's like, we put up fences to keep ourselves safe, and some of those fences have run their course and they're not required anymore, but we haven't been able to let those go because of old habits. So I just want to give you a little bit of a sort of a taste, so you'll feel excited to participate in the course if you wish. And that is that, in order for us to really grow in a balanced way, we are here to pursue our spiritual goals, whether we are doing it consciously or not. We are the river, and the natural course and the law is that we will always flow to the ocean, which is spirit. Sometimes we will meander about for a long time before we actually reach. Sometimes we like to take a quick shortcut there. And however it is, whether with conscious intention or just letting things go, roll along, ultimately we will become one with spirit. So this is about, we know when we are in spirit, with spirit, there is a well-being, there is a peace, we don't have to worry about anything, and everything, all resources that we can imagine are available to us to do what we want. Now, there are really, 4 major anchors which support our growth and support our movement throughout life. And these are, this is health, wealth, relationships, through which we derive a lot of happiness, and our creative pursuits. It's like the 4 corners on which we build our lives. Now, wealth is one part of it. And Bill, in his introduction, said this is about creating abundance. Now, there is a very slight difference between abundance and wealth, the way the word wealth is used, which is kind of more, where we think more of material, money, property, what have you. And it is a little different for each of us. Somebody will say, no, health is wealth. Fair enough. However we define it. But it's like this. Our growth must be balanced in all four of these cornerstones on which we are going to build our lives. If we pursue just wealth, which is one of them, and many people do, and gather enormous amounts of wealth, but it will usually be at the cost of one or the other. Because the way we are designed, the way we are built, all of that has a place in life and sort of must dance with each other and move up together. And if we are focusing too much just on one thing, it could be health. Somebody who's there doing only the health thing and the body and spending a lot of time and making sure that the health is okay, then some of the other things will suffer. So that is one of the first principles, to remember that the pursuing of wealth or abundance does not kick off balance the other three cornerstones, which are absolutely necessary for life. The other thing is that, wealth, when we ask, we know through practice of SRT that the whole law is about ask and it is given. So whatever it is that we want, we just say, Spirit, can I have wealth? And then we clear all the blocks to it, right? And wealth comes. And this is the whole tenet, the whole foundation on which SRT is based. Ask and it is given. We have to ask. If we don't ask, it'll be a long time coming. We have to desire it. We have to communicate our desire. We have to remove all the blocks to it. And when we ask for wealth, definitely it will come. But here is another very critical. I mean, there are several principles that let me give you the one or two which are really critical. One is that we can't ask for money for the sake of money. Because in the spiritual realm, there is no such thing as money. It is our creation. We have it's something, a value we've placed on our life energy, our life force energy, and what we do with the energy, which translates into effort, which translates into products, and then we exchange that for money, right? So if I just say that, in fact, this happened to me in one of the classes I was teaching. There was this young man who said, I want $1 million. I was teaching a class on law of attraction. And I asked him, what are you going to do with your $1 million? You have to be able to use this money. The money will not just come just because you've asked for it. There has to be, what is it going to translate? How are you going to translate it into something? A service maybe, or product maybe, what is it? So he of course hadn't thought that part of it. And he said, oh, I'm going to give it to charity. Then I had to point out to him, I said, look, if you're going to give the money away in charity, it doesn't have to come through you. Why would Spirit give you $1 million just so you are going to give it away to charity? Spirit will send it directly to the charity folks. Now this, I pointed out, is a huge ego business over here. Like, it must come through me. Now, this is where we have to understand that when I ask for abundance, it has to be towards something. I want to start a business, Spirit. Can I have $1 million? I want to travel the world, Spirit, and meet people. Can I have $1 million or $30,000 or whatever it is that you need? And you will find time and time again, and when you look back in your own lives, you will find that whenever you really set your heart on doing something, on creating something, it doesn't have to be fancy, that somehow that works out. When we believe that, yeah, of course, this is what I want to do, and Spirit will find a way of making it happen. It works out. It may not always be in our timeline. Spirit may have a different timetable. But if we clear our doubts, if we clear our vagueness about it, let's say, And as we are able to get clarity of the idea, clarity of the final use of that resource, somehow or the other, through thick and thin, it finds a way of getting to you. And I'm going to ask you, after this is over, that take your time as you're going to bed tonight and just say, has it really happened in my life? And you'll be amazed at how often it has happened, from big things to little things. My friend is here, Pam Best. She had a lovely story about this in her new business, of how spirit just opened up this and then the next thing, and synchronicities and surprises, and how it all opens out. So that's another principle, that one is that I must have something that I want to offer, and offer in service. Now, offer in service could well be in service to myself, because I want to upgrade my standard of living and I want to create a comfortable house. That's fine. Spirit doesn't sort of say that if it's for you, I will not give it to you, only for others. But also it can be for others. The only caveat over here is that it must expand the experience. It has to add to. It must bring in more. So in whatever way it is. And the corollary to that is that it must not take anything away from anybody else. Because that starts to then create the karmic debt. If I am depriving somebody in order to garner that resources, in order to live a more comfortable life in a bigger house, then it really sort of turns the whole thing sour. That's not how abundance works. I have every right to say, hey, big house, comfortable life, nice car. Sure, it's going to expand my joy. I'll have so much fun sharing this with my friends and family, inviting people over. But if I'm bringing that, if I'm thinking, oh, I'll be better than this other guy, you've seen his house, then it doesn't work. That somehow it sort of brings in an aspect which immediately starts putting down walls and barriers. So let me leave those three thoughts with you. The first one being that there must be balanced growth in all areas. We cannot ask for something which is so out of balance that everything else suffers. The second is that it must always be something that our heart really desires to create. And the third, it has to expand, it has to add to, it has to add value, so to speak, but never at the expense of someone else. So there are a few more very practical ideas like this, but the idea of the workshop is not just the principles, but also learning to align our energies to those principles. With SRT, of course, we have the facility to be able to say, am I really aligned with this idea? And if not, then what is the block? What is the block in my belief? What do I need to change? And then we can clear that and we can change that at a conscious mind level. So with that, let me move to a little meditation, a short one. And the meditation I've chosen for today is not directly related to this topic of wealth creation, but it is definitely a very central piece of all creation. And that is about balancing or harmonizing the masculine and the feminine energies within us. Now we know, and SRT also teaches us, is that in everything, the masculine energy is the father province, what comes from spirit. And the feminine is when it sort of moves off and creates something a little different of the program, which takes that direction from spirit and structures it and makes something happen out of it. It's just like having a baby. Like from the masculine energy plants the seed, and the feminine energy takes the seed and fleshes it out, helps it grow. And this happens at every stage of our life. It happens with everything that we do, whether it is a project or whether we are writing a book or whether we are creating a new organization. At every level, at every stage, these two energies must be present doing what the energies do. So within ourselves, let's just go ahead and do a little meditation on that. So I invite you to sit back, relax, close your eyes, put your pendulum down. If you have one with you, you can pick it up again at the end of it. And go ahead and take a nice deep breath. And now I'm going to ask you to focus on the heart center. Center of the chest. Right next to the physical heart is our energetic center, the heart center. Also known as the Anahata in Sanskrit, which means that which is never damaged, never contaminated, never corrupted. So the heart's energy is always pure and pristine, as intended by spirit. And in order to bring in spiritual energies into our lives and manifest them at the three-dimensional plane, it has to come through the heart center. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath, push our shoulders back a little bit, expand the chest cavity, and let the energy flow. Then I'm going to invite you to bring your focus to your crown center. And as you take a deep breath, let's open that crown center and invite spirit in. And we're going to ask spirit, please be here so that I can move to the next part of my life in perfect harmony of creation, following your guidance. And imagine that energy that is coming from spirit like a rod of light. This beam of light which is entering from the crown center. And almost you can feel as your system opens up, you can feel that liquid warmth trickling down as the light proceeds through your third eye, your throat center, your heart center, solar plexus, sacrum, and all the way to the Muladhara, the base center. And see it establish itself at the base of the spine. We're going to take a few deep, easy breaths to really stabilize that pillar of light within us. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our attention to our feet, which is on the ground. And we're going to breathe in the earth energy coming up through our feet, through our knees and hips, And as it comes, it meets the spiritual energy at the base of the spine. This is where we have the Kundalini sitting, which has within it the seed of our being. Everything, all the information, all the programs that are going to slowly develop and bloom and blossom as we grow through our lives. And from here, imagine the double helix of the DNA as we have seen depicted, slowly rising, entwining itself around this light, this beam of light, which is the central part of our connection with spirit. So let's take that nice deep breath, gently, slowly, and remind ourselves that as we visualize this growth, this movement of the energy from the base center, heading up, lovingly embracing, rising, growing, allowing new branches to form and grow in the direction that it is already aware that it must go. Through the body, through our emotional body, the mental body, all the way to the heart center to meet the astral body. Ready to connect with the purpose of the soul, to communicate with our high self, our higher intelligence, knowledge and wisdom which lies beyond this world. Like the tree that is mature, that is well rooted on earth, that does not get knocked over by strong winds or wilted by the strong sun or drowned by the rain. We have done that. We know how it works on earth. We have come through weathering, strengthening ourselves through resistance, through pushing, through fighting so that our muscles will grow even stronger. And now we have reached here. Once we move up through the heart and reach up, here we are in touch with the spiritual realm through the throat center, the place where creation can begin, triggered by our senses, by the sound. Sound embedded with intention can bring about that creation. Moving up to the third eye center, the place of our intuition where we connect with the higher mind, with the spiritual knowledge, the downloads that come from spirit that are yet to be put in words. And as we take the next few breaths, once again, go back to the base center and just checking in with that ever widening, ever growing spiral and the steadfast beam of light which never leaves us. Always present, always holding that space, always giving direction, giving ideas, new thoughts, new forms, and the feminine within which takes those ideas and grows, sends out feelers, lets the leaves and the branches grow wide, ready to bear that spiritual fruit the soul has come to share. So here we are, all of us, working with spirit, with this knowledge, with this wisdom that is left to us by Robert Detzler, ready and willing, having volunteered to do this work. So we are going to send out a prayer. I am here. I am ready. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you for showing me the way step by step and holding my hand when I feel doubtful or fearful. And everything that I do, Spirit, is on your behalf. It is my intention to serve. It is my pleasure and joy to offer myself as a channel for a little more of heaven on earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And take some deep, deep breaths. And know that every vision that we hold in the mind and call forth is now imbued in every cell of our body. Every structure, every space, and beyond in our auric field, in our energy presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as and when you're ready, gently, very gently, you're going to open your eyes, looking down at first, thanking Mother Earth for housing us, giving us space, nurturing. And slowly raise your eyes to meet the group.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Malabika. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
We will open the floor for questions through the chat at this time. If anyone, anything that Malabika talked about in her presentation, or some questions about the meditation, that's perfectly good as well. One of the things that you mentioned in your talk, which I think is extremely important for a lot of people to understand when using the law of attraction or trying to employ the law of attraction, there is always this, a few people in the audience who think, oh, just give me the $1 million and I'll be fine. Or just give me the, you know, that somehow the wealth equals money. And so there's a whole lot of, as a an LOA coach, or as a just a SRT practitioner, I've had plenty of clients who have experienced a tremendous amount of material wealth in their lifetime because of great, you know, they're just very good at business, or they just had good opportunities, or good good luck. They happen to be born to a wealthy family or whatever, but they can't understand how unwealthy they feel, or in their relationships, because their relationships are a mess, or their friendships are a mess, or they found that their material wealth is flying away, and they can't understand why. Could you speak a little bit to that, about how someone can experience material wealth, but also feel material,
Impoverished. Yeah.
yeah, impoverished,
Health.
feel impoverished. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Health and relationships are two. Actually, all three others may suffer in many ways. Not necessarily, but certainly health and relationships are two sacrifices that tend to happen when we focus a lot on just making, creating material wealth. And unfortunately, unless the four corners of the structure are strong enough to uphold that, uh, uphold in a very healthy way, it's a constant, okay, so now the health becomes bad, so the wealth goes into that area. And now by the time the health is brought up, now, the money is gone. And so we are perpetually on that seesaw kind of a thing. And even with relationships. So when we talk about abundance and wealth, we are really talking about well-being on all aspects. And so we need to, we can do a 4-hour class and get all the principles and the clearing and the process, but it doesn't end there. Just like SRT, the classes are only the beginning. The rest of the journey is really going deep into contemplation and asking the question and finding out more and more. And as we get to know ourselves deeper and deeper through the eyes of spirit and our high self, it really helps us, gives us those little steps that we can move on and to the next part and the next part.
Okay, excellent. We do have a question from the group. We're talking about tithing. Does the class address tithing? And if so, in what way does it address the spiritual aspect of tithing?
So tithing is giving. Uh, Giving will always bring in more. You know, there is a saying which my teacher used to say a lot. What would we, whenever, especially when you give money, the Holy Spirit blesses and multiplies all that we receive and all that we give. So all that we give is blessed multiple times. And anytime you want to tithe, tithing somehow is related to religious. It doesn't have to be. Tithing means it's a gift. It's a gift from the heart. You can give it to a spiritual organization, you can give it to a charity, you can give it to your friend, you can give it to your daughter, you can give it to anybody you feel like, as long as you're giving it from the heart with no expectations in return. It's just, let me share my love, let me share my gratitude, let me share my appreciation. So yes, tithing is a very, very important part, a principle of attracting greater abundance. But we have to break it loose from the idea that it must always be money, and it must always be an organization that is a charitable organization, a non-profit. We have to let those judgments go. It's not your business. You are giving from yourself, from your heart, to, because of your love and appreciation, to something or somebody or institution. What they will do with the money is their business. We are not getting into conscious control on that. So that's the perspective here. So I don't know who asked the question, but I hope it answers it.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. That's an excellent answer and an excellent question too. So somebody was asking about, is this the class, do you have to be an advanced practitioner to take this class?
Not at all. You don't even have to be an SRT practitioner for that matter, but it helps. It helps because then this practice of SRT shows us how we can bring ourselves into greater alignment with the processes where we may be a little off. You know? Yeah. So come, it's going to be great fun. I love teaching this course. It's very liberating. It's very like, oh, da 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 da. Let's go make some money and have some fun. So Barbara used to have this little card stuck on her on a refrigerator which said, I was just having fun and the money kept rolling in. Absolutely. And that's the whole idea. I mean, that is a fundamental principle for opening up to abundance. If it becomes a chore, if you're having to sit down and think, what am I going to do next so I can get more money? We are attacking it from the wrong end of the stick. Because really, it has to be fun. Absolutely. That's the
Yes, and if you do something you love, you're never working a day in your life. And if you're also doing it something you fun, the abundance follows. The wealth and the abundance follows.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
and it's so counter to how we've been raised.
Yeah.
And you just look back and say, oh, don't waste your time. Stop playing. Go and do some studies. Get your math figured out. Now, somewhere there is a balance. I don't know, because as human beings in a human society and having to live in a human society, there has to be some basic skills, I suppose we have to get, math skills, reading and what all, writing and communication and all that. But somewhere along that line, we have to be able to allow the heart to do what the heart wants to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So if we, I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I think we can call it an evening. I just want to thank everybody who came here tonight to share in this wonderful experience, and thank you, Malabika, for a wonderful presentation. And I so much hope that you have a wonderful class. It sounds like a lot of fun. And if you're interested in Malabika, I mean, if you can't make the class, that's fine. I'm sure if you reach out to Malabika, she can also just one-on-one sessions or through teaching and whatever. I'm sure she'll be happy to do that for you. Her website is visionholistic.net.
Yeah. I also want to mention, Bill, if I may,
Yep.
that second Wednesdays of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning, I have an open meeting for all SRT practitioners, and it is through a free will donation, which is not mandatory. So if you are a practitioner, if you'd like to be a part of this, all you have to do is send me an email and I will put you on the list. I send out a notice about 2 days in advance saying, hey, this Wednesday we are meeting, come and join. And I'd love to have you.
And in the video description, we'll also include Malabika's website and contact information, and so that way you can reach out to her. And I just want to encourage anyone who's also watching this. The SRA is a nonprofit organization that works for the dissemination and spreading the love and joy of spiritual response therapy and the legacy of Robert Detzler. And if you are interested in supporting our organization, you can just go to spiritualresponse.org/donate. And $5, $10, whatever you can give would be greatly appreciated. But, you know, barring that, please subscribe, like, share with your friends, and get the word out and let us know how we're doing. And if you want to see any improvements to the show or you have any suggestions, just bring those down in the comments. We look at every one of those. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Will, for the opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's such fun. I love this. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.